Hello, and welcome to No Bruises on the Outside. I'm Roger Reynolds, and in this video I'm going to talk about online or social media support groups or information groups for mental health, for mental illness, and I'm specifically going to talk about complex PTSD as that is my main focus. And I'm going to talk about Facebook specifically because that's where I've spent the most time in social media support groups. On Facebook, there are a number of complex PTSD support groups, and I'm going to talk about a couple of those that have been really helpful to me and kind of some general things to look for. But there's also one in particular that was not helpful to me, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what to also look for that might not be helpful, or might be safe, or might even be harmful. So the one group that I just recently left, that I was only in for 2 to 3 weeks because of its content, behavior of the moderators in there, was a group for gay men and depression. And what was happening in there is the two moderators who were most active, some things to watch for. They very regularly commented to focus on the positive, and here's a positive aspect, and they did it in a way that I call toxic positivity, and you can look up toxic positivity on the internet and find information. So what happens is when people say focus on the positive but you're struggling, is it has the effect of dismissing or minimizing the struggles that you're having. So I left that group. Now, a couple groups that have been really positive, really helpful, are complex PTSD groups or CPTSD groups on Facebook that I found to be really helpful. Some of the things to look for in those groups, and you may be looking at obsessive and compulsive disorder, you may be looking at anxiety, you may be looking at, there are a lot of variety of mental health struggle groups on Facebook. So some things to look for is particularly look for the behavior of the moderators or the administrator. You want a group, I always like to read the about and see if they've filled it out very much. And then I like to read and see where are administrators or moderators commenting. Look at what the guidelines are, look at how they comment, look for what you find helpful or supportive, and are they watching also what other people are posting and what other people are commenting. And if you're finding the majority of it to be well regulated, well overseen, these can be really helpful, because one of the aspects that the internet has, and that Facebook has, and that social media has, is it can bring people with really specific commonalities together. And one of the Facebook groups for complex PTSD, has over 22,000 members. Yes. And I want to say a couple things that have been really helpful, besides the fact that they're well monitored, well moderated, and respectful people in there. There have been a couple times where it's been really helpful to me. One of them is, I remember when I was probably 12 or 13, my mother, my brother, and my older brother and my stepfather all talked about how I must have some hearing problem, because they would start to talk to me and I didn't respond. And they would have to call my name 2 or 3 times before I responded. And we went to the doctor if we needed to, but we didn't have a lot of money and we didn't go unless we needed to. My mom had my hearing tested at school. They said it was fine. And my mom took me to a hospital about an hour away to have my hearing tested, which we didn't go to the hospital unless we needed to. So she thought this was serious. My hearing tested fine. So that was kind of perplexing. I think what I was doing was, it was a hostile environment. It wasn't a fun environment to live in. And I was just kind of tuning out, daydreaming, going into my own world and not paying attention to the unpleasant people around me. And this probably was to a level of what would be called dissociating regarding hearing. And so I remembered this a year or 2 ago. And so I posted it in this social media group on Facebook. And within less than an hour, a woman from Arizona posted, the exact same thing happened to me. And she explained the hearing. People in her family didn't think she was listening, thought she had hearing problems. She got tested perfect. And then 2 or 3 over the next couple of days, 2 or 3 more people posted the exact same thing. So I then talked to my trauma therapist, my PTSD therapist, about this. And he said, Roger, I've never heard anyone explain this. I've never heard anyone report this. If you'd have brought it up to me, I would have listened, but I wouldn't have had any background to talk about it. It is amazing to me that you used the internet and within 45 minutes had someone from across the United States responding with the exact same experience. And then over the next few days, a couple more people responded. So social media groups can be very helpful, but you need to watch them and assess whether you feel comfortable, whether you feel safe. Is the administration and the moderators keeping the group safe? Are the people in there behaving in a safe way? If they are and you feel comfortable, they can be very helpful with recommendations of books and videos and stuff on YouTube or other things. But if it doesn't feel safe, trust your gut, trust your feelings, and leave a group if you need to. So that's one piece that I have found helpful for a number of years, and there's a lot of help to be gained. There are a lot of information, support, and connections. Take care, and I wish you well.